Incredible! This is
The Grove Podcast.
Hello, my name is Tabs and welcome to episode 127 of the Grove Podcast. Now, I hope you're all doing very well. Hope your week's going well and that you're looking forward to the weekend when, it should be a good one when Arsenal take on West Ham United on Saturday afternoon at the Emirates. And look, we'll be covering that game later on in the pod, where we also have a special segment at the end of the pod, which I recorded earlier with a West Ham fan, Adam Leatherbarrow from the Dad's Our Job podcast. So you can listen out to that at the end after we sign off. But before we get to that, we'll be discussing last night's game first, where we avoided a Greek tragedy, winning 2-0 at home against Olympiacos in the Champions League. And joining me tonight, help me discuss that, talk through the game to see if I was a bit too angsty, a bit too worrisome. Is Kuziva. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me on. I'm always happy when your team is 40 games unbeaten at home after leading in the first half, so I'm good.
That's a pretty good stat. Is it really 40 games unbeaten when we're winning in the first half?
Yeah, when we are leading at halftime, yeah. It's 36 wins and 4 draws, I think. It's nice.
That's pretty good. That's pretty impressive. So so there'll be more stats like that. I've got a few up my sleeve later on. So good call out. So look, before we get on with that, as always, if you can do a nice little follow, subscribe, rate, comment, etc., on the podcast apps, that's really appreciated. It sort of helps spread the word, gets us noticed up on all the algorithms and stuff like that. So any little bit helps. Really appreciate it. So thank you for that. I've seen some people doing that already. I appreciate it, and if more of you can do it, the better. Indeed. So yeah, let this not be our own little secret. Let's spread the word. Okay, so Olympiacos review. What was your highlight and low light from the game?
Low light, and I know you might touch on this, were the 3 yellow cards. 2 of our players now have 2 yellow cards, and with Atletico down the road, it's a bit worrying. So ideally, I would like them to get a 3rd yellow card in the next game, so then they can miss Slavia Prague, and then they can make it for Bayern Munich. And then the highlight was probably just being in the stadium. I haven't been in a while, and I was sitting row 3 in section 15. And I've never actually sat in the lower tier that low on a weekday game at night. So that was a phenomenal experience. That was really, really cool. And of course, winning after all of that.
No, it's interesting when you're that low, because I like to be a bit higher. I see the depth of vision, see the play, a bit of a tactical sort of thing, and see the whole thing. But when you're that low, you really appreciate how fast it all is, and their touch and how quick.
Yeah,
everything just happens. It's just amazing speed. It all happens, and the skill that you think you don't really appreciate from further away. When you're that close, just their close control, how hard they hit the ball, just like a 5-yard pass. You know, it's that old Roy Keane control this sort of scenario. So it's So occasionally I've done that just to see it, but it's always an incredible view. And you're right. And nighttime games is something a bit special. Just the glow and all the rest of it just adds to the sheen of it, shall we say? So, I'll start with my highlight. Just the fact that the ability to rotate as we did, and we'll get onto the lineup. And then what that meant in terms of the bench, and as we were making subs, theoretically we were getting better, and that's incredible. I don't think that was the plan, but that's what happened last night. So when you can bring on Rice, when you can bring on Saka, you know, it's sort of when you bring it on Eze, oh wow, we're actually improving the team. So it's incredible. So the ability to rotate, and this is where we are now. This is where we are with a squad that we can play against Newcastle. Very emotionally draining, very physically draining. Great. Yeah. We got a really important game. We want to keep the momentum against West Ham at the weekend. We know this is maybe going to be a little bit less intense, a bit more low key. So right, let's bring some players in. Let's rotate. and away we go. That's incredible. So yeah, we're very privileged to have that scenario at the moment, and we're able to do that, and it's going to be like that even more. So it makes guessing the starting 11, which we will do later, bloody hard. It really does. In terms of my low light, I did have my own very own Greek tragedy on the way to the Emirates. So my traditional pre-match food is when I come out from Arsenal Tube and turn right, there's a sort of a stand there called Fat Harry's, and they do these really nice like Greek sausages, and it's nice spicy Greek sausage with sauces, some salad, all in a baguette, and absolutely delicious. And I highly recommend if you come that way. And yeah. Anyway, look, I have no idea how this happened, and I was walking along, just going up to the steps, going up towards the Emirate, and I'd only had one bite, and then all of a sudden the sausage went flying out the baguette, and I was like, what the fuck? I had no idea. Maybe it was my Italian hands gesturing at whatever. I tried to grab it, no luck, and it fell on the floor, just the sausage, mind, and it was instantly trampled on by hundreds of gooners making their way to the stadium. So all I was left was with a baguette and some salad and some sauce. I was so bloody annoyed. And I thought, oh dear! And that was was that going to be a precursor to the evening ahead? I was like, God.
That's probably why you're edgy. Actually, you didn't get your fix.
Well, I then went and got a sausage roll, and it just didn't from the Emirates, and it just didn't hit the spot. It wasn't. I just really like that. It's like a traditional thing. Traditional thing, and and I sort of. It was just too far away to walk back to get another one. I was just such is life. Move on. But there we go. So I had a vegetarian version instead. But yeah, in terms of my footballing annoyance or low light, it was the yellow cards. And look, yellow cards happen, but these are dumb ones. Like Gabriel getting time wasting in the 58th minute, and the two from Rice and Zubimendi was because they had made mistakes prior to that. So they either had a poor touch and lunges for late, or Zubi gave the ball away and trying to recover. So it was a bit unnecessary. And I think it was the same in the Bilbao game. I think Rice is made. It was a deserved yellow card, but I don't think he needed to do it. And I think Zubimendi's again was one. So they're both on 2 yellow cards. 3 equals a suspension. As you said, we've got Atletico Madrid coming up. So it's sort of a bit of, do they not play in the next game? Actually, no, it's for Bayern Munich. So we got Athletic Madrid in the next game, so they won't miss that. But it's the Bayern Munich game. So you want them getting you either want them getting a yellow against Athletic Madrid, or basically they don't play away to Slavia Prague. Yeah. So yeah, and 3 equals a suspension, and then it goes in increments of 2, 5, 7, 9, and then it all gets expunged after the quarterfinals. So, but yeah, it's just dumb yellow cards. Maybe I'm being a bit particular, but it's just a little annoyance that these things can hit you down the line. Or Rice is suspended, Zubimendi's suspended. It's like, it's a bit got to take more care. And like even Big G, you got to just take more care and attention in these things, because it does add up. But let's see. Let's hope it doesn't. Maybe again, this is our season where our luck runs our way, and then it makes no difference. So there we go. So the lineup. Raya in goal, White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Luis Skelly. Then in midfield, Zubimendi, Merino, Odegaard, and then Trossard, Martinelli, Gyokeres. So I think we expected some changes, but what did you make of that lineup? What did you think about it?
I mean, I was happy with it. As you said, we expected some changes. 6 changes makes sense given how large and quality our squad is. I think Arteta's probably trying to manage minutes before the international break. And as you mentioned earlier, the Newcastle game, it's emotionally draining, right? So it's really, we're really privileged that we can rest our players after a game like that. Obviously, Gyokeres played, but I think he's going to play every game until he starts banging goals all the time. But I wasn't too surprised. by that.
No, I mean, I think it is about giving players rest, but also opportunity. We've got the squad, and I think we're doing a good job in terms of rotation. In terms of, I don't think anyone feels left out. There isn't that one. We're managing it as in we've got enough players injured long term, so no one's missing out on not being on the bench. And we're playing the right sort of games at the right time to give players in and out minutes. So I think it's both about rest, but also opportunity. Particularly, I think it was really obvious that White and Lewis Skelly were going to start yesterday. And then it's what do you do in midfield and up front? On Gyokeres, we have no other centre forward unless you play Marina up there. But I think, it's I think him playing all the time is meant he's got fitter, and we'll talk about it a bit later. He's also, the connections are there; they're getting better. If you look at the first few games, it was 10 plus 1, and now we're 11 on the pitch. So it's I think that's helped. I mean, I don't think it was the plan, but it is. And then nice that Rice gets to sit down. I thought Zubimendi might get a bit more of a rest, given the opposition, but we'll see. And then obviously, Odegaard's, he hasn't paid a huge amount. He's come back on. So I think a great mix. A great mix of players, and why not when you can do it.
Yeah.
So, as for the game as a whole, we did dominate. Possession 61% to their 39. We had 2.9 expected goals to their 0.5. We had 16 shots. They had 10, which is quite a high number for for the team travelling away from home. They had 3 shots on target, 3 big chances to our 5 and 7. They missed all their chances, obviously, because they didn't score. So and they had 5 corners to our 3. So it's not like I think we were the better team and we dominated, but it's not like that they sat back and were playing in a low block. And are they our bogey team? Do we have a bogey team in Europe? Because I think Moz shared the stat before the game that in the last 6 meetings, well, maybe we're each other's bogey teams when we play away. Neither team in the last 6 meetings of these 2 clubs, the home team has always lost. So I guess you can't always take anything for granted. So they do seem to be a bit of a bogey team for us at home. I was expecting it to be a bit different, given the strength of the 2 squads, our current form. The fact that they struggled against 10 man against Paphos in the first game of the Champions League, but you can't take anything for granted. I think we all expected a comfortable win. It sort of was, sort of wasn't. So what did you make about the game, our performance, how it panned out? What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was. I think we all expected just something different, especially after the way we won against Newcastle. But then you also need to take into account the fact that we had 6 changes. And they are kind of like a bogey team. They played really well, I'm not going to lie to you. One thing that I noticed, and I'm sure you noticed it too from the get-go, is they're pressing really high. And I was like, this is not going to last to the guy I was sitting next to. And it actually did. Like, they continued doing that the whole game. So it was a surprise, but also probably humbling for us just to be like, we shouldn't take anything for granted. There's no easy game. You could always lose a game. Look at our friends in Liverpool. But I think all around happy with how we ended the game. It was really nervy for like a good 30-35 minutes, and there was a time when I was like, these guys are going to score and we'll win, but they're going to score and they're going to force us to win. So yeah, I'm happy with the results. I'm happy that they had to properly grind it out, and I think people showed that they are ready to push their way into the first team if the opportunity comes their way. So I guess all around good game for me.
Yeah, no, I mean for me, it was a bit of a mixed game. Now, I'm not saying we got away with one and that we didn't deserve to win, because I think we did, but it did feel like we were almost sleepwalking into dropping points. We should have finished them off earlier, and we are grateful for Raya. Now, look, that's Raya's job. But bloody hell, that save he made, and we'll get onto it. That save he made, from Podence, was just incredible, and I think we did have brilliant moments, but interspersed with sloppiness, maybe not sloppy, but maybe a bit casual, maybe not intense, and it just felt very un-Arsenal at times. But I think, like you said, you got to give credit to Olympiacos. They, I think they played better than I expected. They worked hard, they ran hard, caused us trouble. Their crossing was great. I think their second half pressing was really, really good. I think first half less so, but second half they really went man to man, 1-to-1 pressing, which we found hard to to get round, and beware of Greeks bearing diminutive Portuguese wide men because they cause us a bit of trouble. But also they had a tactic of going long. Their keeper kept them going long, and they wanted to turn Saliba, turn Gabriel, feed off some mistake. Now they did well. They managed that, but you could just see if any slip up in that, they were always right on the shoulder, waiting to pounce because the gap between the back four and Raya, or if Raya's out of position, they were waiting to pounce on that. So clear tactics, either to hassle us and go long. But I mean, part of. So again, a lot of reading today, hearing today. Oh, it was a comfortable win, and all the rest of it. No dramas and all the rest of it. But I don't know. I felt a bit. I know. Were you anxious in the stadium last night because we're 1-0 up? They were tricky, stubborn. We seem to be playing 2-0 football at 1-0, and we seem to be stuck in second gear. And when you just can't motivate yourself to go that next level. And it's not a criticism, but we did leave ourselves open to variance. Football being stupid. You said that. Yeah. Did you? I don't know. Did you? I guess if you're watching now, were you worried? Were you worried that we were actually going to drop points yesterday, or did you think even if they scored, the cavalry would come on and we would win?
No, I wasn't worried about losing. I wasn't worried about even just dropping points. As I said, I felt that if we scored, then it'll wake us up, because as you said, it just felt like we weren't there. But we need to give credit to Olympiacos. Another thing that I noticed that you mentioned is the long balls, they came with the correct tactics and they pushed the whole game. But I knew that we had the quality, regardless, be it on the bench, on the pitch, we had the quality to end it. So the only nerves were around the 10th minute, because I was like, if we do concede now, and we'll probably win, how long it'll take us to score that second goal. But yeah, I think maybe also just my vantage point, I was looking at the game differently.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, and I was, looking at Gyokeres and how powerful he runs. I was looking at MLS, marshalling people at 19. So I was probably appreciating the individual players more than looking at the game as a whole, which is why I wasn't nervous.
Okay. Because I was more like looking at it's 80 minutes. They could still score 85 minutes, and it's that thing if they score early enough, then fine, we've got time. But if they equalise in the last 10 minutes, then it's sort of shooting ourselves in the foot a bit, and that's why I say we almost sleptwalked into dropping points. Now we didn't, but on the in terms of the elements of how we played, and what I could sort of garner from my position is that we were definitely trying to get the ball upfield quicker than normal, moving the ball forward, but what that meant, and in terms of how we moved the ball forward, so there was a bit of running with the ball or playing really cool passes and really smart passes, but also there was that thing where we're trying to pass the ball on, so the ball comes to you and you quickly trying to get it, which meant that the ball then would come back to us quickly because those are less accurate and less things. So it did become a bit back and forth. I felt we didn't have the control. This is what I'm saying, it was an un-Arsenal performance. Now this is maybe our future. There was none of that control, just putting your foot on the ball, passing it around, just sort of guide the game, let's probe and all the rest of it. It was more direct. But when you play like that, it feels like there's less accuracy, there's less certainty in terms of what you're doing. So therefore, I think we're maybe a bit. It wasn't hugely basketball-y, but it just mean we're used to petite 10 minutes. We just pass the ball, and they can't get it. And there was none of that yesterday. So there's none of that building sustained pressure, building momentum. It was just moments forward, moments backwards, and which was just odd because it's just I don't know if you noticed that, but it was just it's not what we're used to, is it?
No, it's not. And I think we always knew that there was going to be some sort of evolution with Gyokeres coming in. We're not going to change our game. So he's not going to change for us. We're going to try to change our game for him because we know his strengths. So maybe Arteta saw it as an opportunity to continue trying that, with some key players like Zubimendi and Odegaard who started. And he didn't obviously realize that, oh shit, okay, these guys came here really well drilled, and that's a really hard training session. So I did notice it, and for us to become that team, we're going to have to just do it, and better do it in a space where you're at home and you think that she can win, and you also have people like Saka on the bench, right?
Yeah, it was a safe place, and look, I mean, we saw signs of this. I think that in the Man United game, and there was that article by James Benge when he was saying, like, we've accelerated how far we're getting the ball forward, like by X amount of seconds and stuff like that. But that time, we were less accurate. The ball wasn't sticking. We were less good at it. This was better. And I like that idea. It was like, if you're going to try these things, you're going to do it now. This is a good environment to do it. I mean, okay, got to respect Olympiacos, but it's not playing Bayern Munich. It's not Liverpool. It's not Athletic Madrid. So there should be an element of that there, and it almost worked a few times. And actually, our first goal did come from a bit more direct play and so on. So yeah, no, I like that perspective on it. It was just very unfamiliar, and you're just not used to it. Now, obviously, we're not big fans of the horseshoe of death, but I can understand the recycling and processing, and the fact that, like, let's get our rest defense in and let's just control and measured. So maybe this was like a very extreme opposite of that for us, and to see. So it was just an interesting observation, and I guess, yeah, you got to try these things, and ultimately we did win comfortably. Mm-hmm. It just didn't always feel like that. No. So look, key moments. And I think the first half was our best half, and look, from 2 minutes, Nelly had that big chance, and I was like, "Oh, that's in the back of the net."
Absolutely. Yeah. I was celebrating, and no, it wasn't. The net was not bulging, actually.
No, exactly. I mean, where's Marino when you need him? But it was I think it was a cross from Emirates, lovely cross, and then Nelly's there unmarked, coming off the right flank. And it's sort of one of those awkward headers, side on, off his shoulder, but still thought, oh, it's going in the corner, and it didn't. He should be getting that on target. No guarantees of scoring, but it didn't. But we think, okay, that's a good start. Let's see what happens. And 13 minutes.
But sorry, just before we get there, I think the build-up to that chance was also great. The pass from Raya to Odegaard, I was worried that was going to hit one of their players. Odegaard managed to get it perfectly, passes straight into Emirates' run, and then this is just like open field. And that's the advantage of having players like Raya who can find that pass in the midfield. You open them up, right? Like, we didn't have many opportunities where we opened up a team like that, but we really did. But anyways, then we scored.
But back to Raya. I mean, not only is he brilliant with his hands, with his feet, his passing is very brave passing. But it's like having 11 outfield players. He's like having a midfielder. I'm sure he can pass better than half the players in the Premiership. He's like, and he's got to be brave. The positioning's got to be there. And it's impressive when it happens. I don't know. Sometimes it felt a bit nervy, but I guess it depends the angle you're at. Maybe from their angle, it's no, this is fine, and so on. And maybe it looks more nervy in the stadium than it does watching on TV. But yeah, no, he was impressive with his passing, and and we were able to get between the lines, find players free. Odegaard was getting the ball tons, Zubimendi as well, and so I think it really helped us progress. And so after missing his first big chance, he does get his goal, but it stems from a threat from Olympiacos, and then Raya gets it nice, and it ends up being with Odegaard, and Odegaard plays a great ball through to Gyokeres. And this is where Gyokeres is improving. He had two defenders on him, and he's out muscling them, and he managed to get his shot away. Keeper wasn't able to stop it, but it sort of hit through him and it deflected it onto the post. And you could see Martinelli desperately sort of waiting for the ball to go in, and it didn't hit off the post. And then he did nice little finish. So unlucky for Victor, but well done Nelly. So to protect the ball and then put it away. So that's good for Nelly, and that's 4 goal contributions in last 4 games in all competitions for him. And so, given all the chat about our left wing problems, what a seasons he's having.
What a season all our left wings are having. Can't complain. Really fun futsal type goal, close control, and I think just really nice seeing Gyokeres just getting used to the team, and he's just such a powerful runner. Genuinely is such a powerful runner, and I'm keen to see him continue like just building that confidence. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what did you make of Gyokeres' performance last night?
You could see. I mean, as you said earlier, it's not 10, plus one. It feels like it's 11 now. He's holding the ball better than we expected, given what we learned before he joined the team. He's connecting with the players a bit more. Obviously, very, very frustrating. I should have put this as my lower light that he didn't score. He had 2 chances where I expected a bit more from him, but he doesn't stop working. And like, if you're not going to score a goal, then dude, put in a shift. I'll be happy. I'll be happy with that because your goal will come eventually.
Yeah, and I bet you seeing him up close, from row 3, you see his size and his stature, and just like, how is anyone dealing with him?
Yeah, dude, I'm 6'4", and I don't see people who are bigger than me often, and I was like, I didn't expect this.
and that's just his width.
That's just his width, right? So I'm so happy we have a striker like him in our team, and you can see he's hungry. Like that's the big thing. He's hungry, and it'll click. I mean, he's already scored a few goals. I'm not saying he's not scoring goals. He's not 007 in Liverpool, but he's hungry, and it'll properly click. And I guess all you want is in games like this to stat pad, but then that was me just undermining Olympiacos. Like,
No, I think we all expected it would be nice for him to get a couple of goals, but he was involved, and look, I think it's very positive. He's using his strength now. He's getting more involved. He's bullying defenders. His all-round game is getting better. And look, his performance against Newcastle was again an excellent performance. Just didn't have the goal. A bit unlucky in some instances. Still needs to sharpen up there. And I think those goals will come. And he had 6 shots against Newcastle. Which is a great number. But he works so hard. Last night was the width of a post from getting a goal. And those are those margins. But we scored from it. So again, he's now got an assist. There's a moment where he could have passed to Martinelli. Instead, he went through, and that was from an amazing pass from Odegaard. But also you want their mentality. No, I'm going to go ahead and going to try and score. And but it's trending in the right direction. Like if we trust the process, the process is good, and he's building those relationships. And it's no coincidence that he's looking better now that Odegaard's in the team as well, because this is what Odegaard is good at. So I think it's the relationships are building. His all-round play is getting better. I think it's very, very, very encouraging to see. So pleased with his performance. So then we get that goal and we thought, oh, okay, right, sit back, easy. This is going to be fun. And then what a save by Raya! 20 minutes, my God. Cross on the left. And Podence caught the volley sweetly, and Raya palmed it over the bar, and again, like Martinelli's header, I was expecting, that's 1-1. Wow, what a save.
No, I think it's really sad that he doesn't get rated the way he should. Obviously, as Arsenal fans, we see him all the time. FPL fans know that he gets them points. But he's arguably like top 3 in the world, right? 73 save percentage. I don't think there's anyone in the Premier League that is as high as him. What else? Like the player who won best goalkeeper last year, Martinez. Raya is better than him. Clean sheets, no errors, goals prevented per 90.
He's not a complete twat either.
Exactly. I want us to win a trophy so badly, especially like Champions League, so players like Raya can be appreciated, because he is part of the reason why we've done so well. We have a good defense. Gabriel and Saliba are great, but Raya, that showed us like nothing was happening, and then out of nowhere, concentration is on like literally a top level save, perfect save.
Yeah. It's incredible. He's part of that defense. He is part of that defense. It's not 4 and 1. He's part of that unit. And I heard something today, which is quite a good maybe thing, is that the hardest part of being a goalkeeper in a good team is that you're not involved much. So it's staying concentrated. And even Ramsdale admitted it himself, is that he found it when he was like number 1 at Arsenal, that thing about having to concentrate, stay focused. It's not easy. But and I heard a good point today is that maybe because he's involved so much in terms of our build-up play from the back, and he's really important to that, either his long passing, his short passing, mid, but the fact that therefore he's always switched on, he's always thinking, so therefore he doesn't ever switch off in a game. Now this is obviously not a moment like that, but he's not like sitting there or Arsenal playing, we're playing up front and doing nothing. So he is involved. So again, I think that's quite a smart thing. But yeah, an amazing save, kept us in the game. Kept it at 1-0, and but that's his job. Yeah. So there we go. And then 31 minutes was that opportunity of great pass by Odegaard to Gyokeres, and he should have maybe crossed it to Martinelli, but didn't. And then there was another chance in the 41st minutes where Gyokeres cut inside, and I think he went more power and maybe finesse was needed, and sort of slashed it, fired over the top right hand side. But again, showing promise. So that was the first half, 1-0. Okay, maybe should have had another one, but maybe could have been 1-1. So we'll take it. And then we thought more of the same. But I think Olympiacos stepped up the intensity, and caused us issues. We're very tricky, and and we created a few chances, but I don't think our game was as clean as it was in the first half. And I think Trossard was the first one on 54 to have another chance. He was set up by Marino, tried to guide it far side, but hit it wide. Then we then got to 60 minutes, and I think these are the subs that came on. I think these were the planned subs. It's the later ones that I think we different. So Marino and White going off, Rice and Timber on. What did you make of White's performance?
Oh man, I feel sorry for him that he has to fight for a position against Timber, because it means that you need to be on your game, and I don't think he was totally on his game yesterday, and that's all I'll say about Ben White.
Okay, well, fair enough. That's very actually political, shall we say? That's very safe. Well, I mean, I think he's just rusty. I mean, and he knows it, and he doesn't like it. And look, the only way he can play back in the match finish is give him his minutes. This is a perfect time. But you're right, and he's done nothing wrong. It's just Timber is amazing. He is, oh my, in terms of having the best goalkeeper, the best central defenders, how many right backs are better than him in the world? He's just so good, and he's been my player. I would say he's been my player of the season so far. He's incredible. He's just every time, every game. 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. You can he's built like a brick shit house, but he's not. But he doesn't look like it. And look, with Ben White, we played him into the ground the season that Timber did his ACL, and then he's had issues since that. And even during that season, he played with injuries, but he carried on. So I feel a bit sorry for Ben White, because he's such a servant to the club, as in he sacrifices himself for the club. I think he's played unfit multiple times, knowing it could have long-term impacts, but he would do it, and it is a really odd one when you look at him. The way everyone perceives about him, people, the external view of him would be not that, I don't watch football, therefore he's not going to be that. But he's the most committed of our players, and puts his body on the line, but he's not demonstrative, and therefore people don't see that from him. But he's incredible. So, but he's suffered as a result, and Timber is so good that it's hard. It's hard, and so I mean, we've got a real battle on our hands, and it's great, because they're just going to lift their levels, because Ben White's want to get back into the team, and he'll get his matches. It's just that Timber is number one, and it's not an argument at the moment. But again, what a great problem to have. And but I think yesterday was just rustiness. Again, fitness, hasn't played for a while. That sort of thing. It's nothing to concern ourselves about.
But then we have MLS on the other side, who also hasn't played a lot, and he played really well, which is why I wanted to stay politically biased.
I mean, tell me about what your thoughts on the MLS game. Because again, I'm less. I'll go on. What did you make of MLS yesterday?
I mean, I just using the example that we're chatting about now with Ben White not playing enough games. And obviously, I know he's coming back from an injury, and there are a lot of factors that are probably affecting his game right now. But MLS hasn't played as much as other players, and I think that he held his own. He finished the game, right? As far as I understand, he finished the game.
Yeah.
And what is also really interesting is seeing how he's such a leader in the back. And maybe that's just his personality, but seeing him telling Gabriel, hey, make sure you're holding the line, speaking to Zubi, speaking to Leo, it seemed more like he was there for it to try win his spot back in the team. Right. But as you said, our best player arguably is Timber. And we have Ben White who's coming back from the 2 seasons that he's had. So it's an unfair comparison because also MLS had a really good season last season. So maybe I'm being unfair, but this is why I shouldn't have said anything.
It's just a view, it's an opinion. I don't think you're saying anything wrong. For me, MLS, there's a couple of things like that. Again, MLS, was amazing last season and what he did, and we needed him, and he stepped up, and it's incredible. And it's like, I think we said this in previous pods. This is that difficult second album. You know what I mean. The second season. There's the 2 things with MLS is like the contrast between him and Calafiori. It's in a way it's chalk and cheese.
Yeah.
So when one plays, you don't have the one thing, but when the other plays, you have that. So it depends stylistically what you want and what each one offers, and therefore on the left hand side, I think you will have sort of pods. So if you've got MLS, then you have someone else, and if you've got Calafiori, you have someone else. Maybe that's how it works. I think MLS is getting, I think more is getting, I'd say the one thing is getting more progressive, and I think he's more confidence with his passing and being a bit more front footed. It's just always that thing that it sort of stops with him. It's a bit, when it gets to him, it doesn't flow through him. So when Calafiori plays, the games continue to flow through him. Where the MLS is a bit more, it stop and then start, and you lose maybe a bit of momentum with him, and maybe that's something that he's evolved. Again, he's 19. He's incredible. So again, no concerns. It's just stylistically, you see something different, and if you want that like that, the way the Calafiori is, but then Calafiori, again by design, leaves his post, and Declan, can you cover? I'm just going up here, type scenario. So it's just an interesting contrast between what you want, and again, it's a great problem to have, and I think they can learn from each other. So maybe Calafiori can be a bit more certain minded, and then MLS can change the way he operates and over time. But he's 19, so that's plenty of time to come for that. But you're right. He for someone who hasn't played very much this season, he came in. No dramas. Then we had a couple of bookings, 58 and 61, and then Trossard had a chance on 65 as a great play from Rice and Odegaard, and then Trossard did his thing, cut back inside, and I think the keeper saved it. And in terms of Trossard's performance yesterday, I don't know. He had 4 chances, and you expect him to put one of those away. We've seen him before. So, like the one when he cut back inside, at other times he would shoot straight away. So I think all roundy, right? He's getting there, gets the chances. I was surprised he didn't put one of those away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same. You expect, he is our best finisher statistically in the team, so you'd expect him to finish one of those. So it was surprising, but I'm sure he's also frustrated. He knows his quality, so just a shame that he didn't take his chance. But it's fine. Our other left wing scored, and I guess as long as the left wing is scoring. So.
Anyone will do. I wish they did. Actually, that was the point. The left wing thing about Saka. Remind me. But then following after that, Olympiacos did have the ball in the back of the net. Raya made a pretty good save from close range, and they put it in a rebound, but he was offside. But it was a warning sign. Was there 67 minutes? It's like. And so then we get the subs, Saka and Eze on, and Trossard and Martinelli off. And now so where Rice and Timber and Marino White, I think, were planned subs, I'm pretty sure. Well, I would think that maybe he was expecting, by 73 minutes, 2-0 up, maybe 3, I'll bring Waneri on, maybe bring Dauman on, and bring and so on. And look, 73 minutes, Saka and Eze playing for 20 minutes is not going to kill him, but and it's not a drama. But I think to give Waneri minutes in the Champions League and Dauman to get the record in the Champions League, I think that's what he was expecting. And this is where game state can have an impact on your subs, because you think, well, no, I'm not going to risk that. This is too risky to do that. So I'll put the big guns on, and they came on, and then soon after, well, I think practically at the same time, Gabriel went off and Mosquera on. So do you know what happened? I don't know what happened to Big G. Do you know what happened to him? Why he came off?
No idea. All I know is the news afterwards where Mikel said it was precautionary, but I didn't see what was going on.
I messaged the group during the game to find out, and because I was more worried that he went down and nothing had happened, but apparently it was like there was that moment where Raya saved and he lands on Gabriel, so I think they were saying it was from that, but yeah, let's hope it's just precautionary as they say. So there we go, and then we have another big chance. Great save from the Olympiacos keeper, like in the 82nd minute. This was when Saka on the right wing ran to the byline, cut it back. Odegaard first time, keeper saved it, and then it rebounds to him. It was like one of those casual finishes, but I'm not sure what else he could have done. Maybe he could have lifted it, but the defender got a block, and yeah, so that was a chance to make it 2-0, close it out. 85, Raya makes a save again. Raya then makes another save. It was a shot straight at him, or a chance straight at Raya, and they were checking for a penalty as well. Apparently VAR would check. What for?
No idea.
No idea.
We should have watched the highlights before this.
we got lives and mortgages to pay, so didn't have a chance to do that. Yeah. But apparently they checked for a VAR penalty, but I didn't even know which end it was. It could have been, it's like it could have been a penalty for Arsenal. So it could have been our benefit, but who knows? But it didn't happen, so that's fine. There was, and then a bit more defending by Saliba, and then finally we put the game to bed. Odegaard set up Saka, and he did what Trossard should have done. Well struck shot, left foot through the keeper's legs. 2-0. Good night. But what was interesting about that was that he was playing left wing and Eze played right wing, and I wonder if we're going to see that more often. I mean, we know he's very strong on his right foot, and we've seen him score absolute missiles with his right foot, but seeing him on the left and just banging them without really thinking because he's on his stronger left foot, that's an interesting dynamic. And someone spoke about how maybe he saw how well Madueke was playing, so now he's trying to prepare Madueke coming back, and arguably before he got injured he was undroppable, right? But this is the advantage of having such flexible players. We've spoken about this. You've spoken about this in some of these pods. These players can interchange, play multiple positions, and maybe we now have another option for another left wing. To me, who cares where they play? Just as long as they play and they score. They can play all over the place, and it's another great problem to have. And if you imagine your opposition manager. What the fuck? Can you just? What am I supposed to do? You're meant to be a right wing. Oh, now you're playing on left, and Eze's on the right, and now it's brilliant for us, and interesting that it works. And I also think that happened a little bit in the Newcastle game, and there was another game where it sort of happened. So maybe it's just again another tactic. Just he's often said, "I want to be unpredictable." Yeah. Well, that was unpredictable, and. Yeah, I wonder what made him change. What made him change that setup at that moment? So interesting, but and look, this is Bukayo all over. Like, he has 11 Champions League goals in 19 games, 6 assists in that same time. He's now level with Bobby Pires. With the same amount of goals. Do you know how long it took Pires to get to 11 goals?
I'm going to guess 54.
63 games. He's done it in a third of the time. And this is Robert Pires we're talking about.
Yeah, this is an invincible we're talking about. Yeah, look,
Yeah.
Saka is Saka, guys. This is just classic Saka. I do want to say one thing. There was the opportunity to pass to Gyokeres, but it is Saka. Saka needs to score his goals. He needs to continue trying to become the best player in the world because he can do it. But I was also like, there's that guy there, just give him a goal. You'll always score a goal, Saka.
I know. For far too long, we've been the team that
Passes too much.
Passes too much.
Yeah.
I want us to shoot. I want us to score, unless it's blindingly obvious. So because there's no guarantees he'll score anyway. Gyokeres. So no, that we need to be that team that we've missed out by trying to put it to someone in a better place. So no, good on him. But obviously, if he hadn't scored, then we would have asked him to, why didn't you pass? Which is just the way it goes. Right. Anyway, so that's game over. 2-0. Job done. Just about. And so that's two out of two. Two out of two 2-0s. That's very easy for me to say. And we've got not conceded. And it's only 6 teams who have also got the same in the Champions League. Bayern Munich, who are top with +6 GD, and then Real Madrid also got +6, but Bayern Munich have scored 8 and Real Madrid 7. Paris Saint-Germain have also got 2 out of 2 with a +5. Inter +5. Arsenal with +4, and Karabag, which we've also won both games, which is incredible. So we're the only Premier League team with 2 out of 2 wins, and so far so good. A good start, and what you expect. And anyone else you wanna call out from yesterday's performance? I think there's one particular player.
I'm blank. Why are you putting me on the spot like that? I enjoyed about MLS. I enjoyed watching MLS close up. Really, really enjoyed seeing just how powerful of a runner Gyokeres is. Odegaard, it's so much fun watching him play the way he's playing right now. He is such a talented player, and it's crazy that the fans who are like, let's replace him as captain, should be so much. I was like, what is wrong with you? So who else? There's no one else.
No, but that was the one. You said it, Odegaard. I mean, maybe he was floating around like so wispily around the pitch, you just didn't notice him because you were so close. But he was man of the match, and I think like you alluded to there, people have forgotten how good he actually is, and people are so quick to dismiss him, and they this is what you get from a match fit Odegaard. Like last season, he was clearly playing with injured. He was clearly playing with other players that were either injured or, well, obviously he wasn't playing with players who weren't there, but he was playing with a suboptimal team. But we often played him when we had little choice, and again, like we did with Ben White previous season, run these players into the ground because we have no choice. And but I think you could see towards the end of last season there were a few green shoots of what he was doing. He was getting his strength back, trusting his body a bit more, and look, we've been a bit unfortunate with his shoulder this season. Luckily, it hasn't cost us too badly, but I think he's trusting his body more. He's a bit more confident. He's had a few burgers, so he's got a bit more, bulk around him. He's not looking like the prisoner from Papillon. And he had that brilliant game-changing cameo against Newcastle. Really encouraging. Just a very good player. Let's not throw the baby out of the bathwater. I think this is what you get. This is what you can do, and the link up with Gyokeres, I think that's gonna take off. And look, now if he does get injured, we've got options with Eze that we can play, so we don't have to rush him back. Mm-hmm. He was unlucky not to score, but he got the assist for Saka. So that's really pleasing. I think he was the standout player from Arsenal yesterday. He did really well, and good to see, because he was just everywhere, doing Odegaard things. I think Nelly call out for his output again. Another goal involved. Busy. Mosquera for his versatility. Right back, left back, right back, right centre back, left centre back yesterday. And just Trossard, as we said, is just unlike him not to finish one of those. But one final thing before we move on to West Ham, we've got a big shout out to that defence. I think we mentioned it earlier with Raya. In the Champions League in the last 2 to 3 seasons, this is an incredible stat. In the group stage, or the league phase stage. So in the last 2 seasons, under Arteta, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 games. How many goals have we let in at home in those 8 games?
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Is it 0?
It is 0. 4-0 against PSV, 2-0 against Sevilla, 6-0 against Lens, 2-0 PSG, 1-0 Shakhtar, 3-0 Monaco, 3-0 Dynamo, 2-0 Olympiacos. We've not let in a goal at home in the group stage or league stage in the last 2-3 seasons. It's just nuts.
It's nuts. And I think it goes back further, apparently, to Europa League. I just don't have the stat, but I did see that it goes back to Europa League. So, shit, Arteta, you're cooking, buddy.
he's the man. And look, even look, just this season, we've played 9 games across three competitions. We've only conceded 3 goals, and only 1 of those from open play. So you know, yes, everyone's focusing on the attack, and obviously that's the exciting area, and that that's the exciting area, and we want to see those goals. But yeah, big up to that defense, you know, to everyone involved. It's just building such a platform for success, and it's so good. So I have no idea why I was worried last night. Jesus, someone had told me that. I said, what am I worried about? but then you go, oh, records are there to be broken. So. There you go.
Against us. And just one more note on that. It's also incredible that we're seeing this when our defense shifts so much. Like we had, 3 different players yesterday. What the fuck? Is it 2 or 3 different players?
Well, 3 if you do Mosquera coming on as well. So two different different right back, different left back, and then Timber comes on, Mosquera comes on. Yeah, it's it's not Rob Holding anymore, is it? And it's not Callum Chambers, and so on. So no, brilliant stuff. So yeah, well, we're never going to let in. Here we go. We're never going to let in a goal again at home in the Champions League in the group stage or league stage.
Touching wood.
Okay, so look, that's that done with. 2-0. We'll forget about this pretty quickly, and we'll move on. And I think the next game, 21st of October at home against Atletico Madrid, which will be that should be a really good and fun and interesting game. So, but before we get to that, we have this weekend to worry about. Back to Premier League business, and we have West Ham at home. So, with that, what are you looking forward to? Not looking forward to as far as the West Ham game is concerned?
I'm looking forward to Gyokeres scoring a hat-trick, and I'm not looking forward to us conceding. Very simple, very straightforward.
Very good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to us continue our good Premier League form against so-called lesser opponents. Beat Leeds 5-0, Forest 3-0. Want to get one over West Ham, who've done us the last 2 seasons at the Emirates. Hopefully seeing the Eza, Odegaard and Saka triumvirate, all starting, all playing together, and then Big Vic up front proving to be the flat track bully that we want him to be, or is that flat pack because he's Swedish?
That's good. Did you plan that? No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. I just made that up now. Oh, I'm gonna take that one. That isn't prescribed. Yeah, flat pack. There we go. Anyway, so that's what I'm looking forward to. Not looking forward to. West Ham have got a new manager, so but he did have his first game against Everton. They haven't lost away this season. I mean, they're terrible, but they haven't lost away this season. So maybe there's that newish manager bounce. They've had one extra week with Nuno. West Ham, they're going to go for the hat trick of annoying wins against us. I really hope not. I can't see it happening, but who knows? So, line up. Shall we just put the names into a hat and just draw them out?
Let's just do that. And today, who is starting? No, I'm expecting the same strong lineup that we had last time, minus Mosquera. Saliba will probably play. It would be interesting if we dropped like a Zubimendi and had Eze in midfield, given it's West Ham at home. But as you said, they haven't lost away from home so far this season, and we always need to respect teams, especially. And it's a London derby, right? And we've spoken about the past, so I wouldn't expect that surprise, but I'd enjoy that. I'd enjoy 2 really creative midfielders. You spoke about how Odegaard is finding Vic really well. And I think Eze definitely has that type of vibe. He doesn't waste time on the ball. He can move really quickly. And if we can have two players like that, just directly trying to find someone, that'd be fun. But yeah, I don't expect any surprises. I think we're going in for hopefully a good triumphant win.
Yeah, okay. I'm thinking Raya, Timber, Saliba, Big G, Calafiori. Yeah, I'm not being so bold. It'll be Odegaard, Rice, Zubimendi. But it's saying that Zubimendi's played a lot of minutes recently. I think maybe we would have taken him off earlier yesterday had we had the chance. But I'm expecting Odegaard, Rice, Zubimendi, and then Eze, Gyokeres, Saka. I mean, I'd be bold to go Odegaard, Rice, Eze, Gyokeres, Saka, and Martin. It'll be Trossard. If we're doing that, just to have a bit of a midfielder rather than Martinelli. But that would be pretty nuts having that. It'll be basically a 5-5. 5 at the back, 5 up front, and no one in midfield. But yeah, let's see. But I doubt it. Again, if Big G's are not fit, then Mosquera comes in. Not concerned about that. Maybe you could get Nordgaard for Zubimendi. But yeah, Rice was rested yesterday. He'll play. Odegaard's looking on form. Unless there's any repercussions from his injuries, he should be starting. And I can't imagine Nelly starting over Eze. So and then we have an amazing bench, great options to come on. Should we need to? But hopefully we don't, and we can bring on Down and bring on Winery and give some other players some minutes. So let's see. So as far as West Ham's concerned, they're sitting. But the opposite of sitting pretty is sitting ugly in 19th place. Played 6, and they've won 1, drew 1, again both away. So they beat Forest away, and they drew 1-1 with West Ham, but lost 4. They have lost away. Sorry, their first game, Sunderland 3-0.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. They've conceded 14. Conceded 14, scored 6, so on -8. So yeah, not particularly great. And in terms of their players, Jared Bowen, I think he's the main threat. Lucas Paquetá can cause issues, creativity. Malik Diouf is looking good for them. I think he's a left back. Somerville, Fernandez potentially, but yeah, really we should be too strong for them. No Thomas Souček, he's suspended, so we haven't got the big man up there causing either trouble in defence or attack. So yeah, we should be too good for them, but the head-to-head in the last couple of years, as we said, is not been great in our favour at the Emirates. We spanked them away. Scored 5-2 last year, 6-0 the year before. So let's see. What are you expecting? What are you predicting for the West Ham game?
I am predicting a 4-0 win. It's so hard to imagine our players scoring a hat-trick nowadays because anyone can score. But I hope Victor can give us a hat-trick just to remind people who he really is. Paquetá is really talented. Bowen is always a busy player. So they'll do what they need to do, and they know this is a derby. Malik Diouf is, as you mentioned earlier, he's been doing quite well this season. His crosses are quite ridiculous. It's not good enough to win games, but he's very talented when it comes to delivering into the box. But without Souček, it's been missing a very key player who's been part of some of the games where they've beaten us. But I'm hopeful for us to be too strong for them. Especially after the game we had this yesterday. They know that they can't take anything for granted. Or you'd hope that they know that. And we have a good defense. Let's continue just having a good defense. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, and this is their 4th London derby in 7 games. They've played Chelsea at home, lost 5-1. They played Tottenham at home, lost 3-0, and they played Palace at home, lost 2-1. So it's a lot of London derbies hitting them. And actually, I'm just looking at the league table here. They're in 19th, on 4 points, but you've got Man United on 14, in 14th, Newcastle 15th, 16th Aston Villa, and 17th Nottingham Forest. Take away Man United, they were 4th, 5th, and 6th last year, or something like that, at the top of the table. So, Wolves are at the bottom. Burnley are where you expect them to be. So, interesting setup at the bottom of the table. I'm going 3-0. I don't care who scores. Yeah, let them all score. I don't care. No, it'd be nice if Gyokeres does get one. You just don't. The reason being, not because to show who he is. It's just you just want to stop all these lazy narratives and just stop it becoming a thing. Mm-hmm. It becomes a thing, and then it escalates, and it becomes a thing, and it becomes more of a thing, and then blah 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 blah. A bit like the Verts thing, the 008 now I think it is, which I'm not going big on, because remember Dennis Bergkamp back in the day? How long did it took him? 10 games to get going, and then he scores those bangers against Southampton. So sometimes it takes a while for players to click. So nice for Gyokeres to get a goal. Just if he's involved, all round play is good. That's fine. We just need to win the game. So there we go. So that's that. So look, thank you, Kuziva, for joining me this evening. It was a pleasure as always.
No worries. It was good chatting. And hopefully I'll see you guys on Saturday.
Yes, indeed. And look, you can follow us on Threads and at Blue Sky at The Grove AFC. Our next show will be post West Ham United and pre the international break. I didn't realise, but there's an international break coming up, because that's what we want. And look, as I said at the beginning, if you enjoy what you hear from us here, then like, subscribe, get in contact, all that jazz on the podcast feeds, on all the socials at The Grove AFC. Really appreciate it. So look, anyway, as I said earlier today, I had a chat with Adam Leatherbarrow, a long-term West Ham United fan and co-host of the Dad's Our Job podcast, to chat about West Ham, what's going on at their club, their season so far, and his thoughts on the game. So look, after I say goodbye, that's going to be coming up right up now. So thank you, Adam, for coming on. It's quite interesting to hear West Ham fans' perspective on what is a bit of a shit show there at the moment, and things aren't great, even if they have got a sort of a new manager. So have a listen, see his perspective, and see what he predicts for the game on Saturday. But from me, from Kuziva, thank you for listening, and until the next time, come on you Gunners. I don't know how to start this. I'll cut it out. Hi Adam, how are you doing?
Hi Tabs, how you getting on? You all right?
Yeah, no, all good. Life's all good in the Tabs household and in the Arsenal household as well. So look, thank you for joining us today to talk about the impending clash between West Ham and Arsenal at the Emirates on Saturday afternoon. And look, before we get into the game and getting your thoughts on how you think it's going to pan out, I just want to take a step back and look at what's going on at West Ham at the moment. The fan unrest, the lack of trust and faith in the board and the owners. Like, I see all your stuff on the socials and what you post, and life doesn't seem to be a happy place at the London Stadium for Hammers fans. What's going on?
No, so basically we've had this has been a long time coming in terms of the West Ham fan base. We've had, it's been 15 years since the Sullivan Gold Brady era began. When you look into my lifespan, that's about 40% of my life. These guys have been in charge of the club that I love. Obviously, one of the major factors was moving from our beloved home at the Bowling Grounds to go to London Stadium to be next level sort of football club. And that is regular European nights, challenging for Champions League, silverware and whatnot. I mean, admittedly, we have won a Conference League off the back of David Moyes' era. And people will say you should be grateful because you've won a cup, but I think, in all honesty, that cup win kind of papered over the cracks as to what the structure of the squad has been over the past few years. And what you're seeing this season has been no surprise, and it has been inevitable, really, because of the lack of investment. And people can argue and say, you've spent £450 million on players. But you've got to spend that on the right players. I mean, we've spent £40 million on Sebastian Haller and then selling to Ajax for 12. When you're making losses like that, how can you ever really build a squad? But yeah, it's just in terms of everything's been done on the cheap. When you look down to our managerial appointments, since they've taken over, they haven't really invested any compensation to other clubs to get a good manager in to take us to the next step. It's always been someone that's been a free agent, doesn't cost money, or they've bought out their own contract to come and manage this club, which I believe Slaven Bilic and Pellegrini are the only two people to have done. Interesting stat, the only time West Ham have purchased another manager from another club was back in 2003 with Adam Pardew when we got him from Reading, and that was when we was in the Championship. So that just shows how long we haven't really stepped up and been ambitious in terms of appointing the most important person to elevate a football club. But yeah, I'd say there's been lots of elements off the pitch as well, which which can be seen online in terms of the concessions. There was a constant battle that the fans actually won in terms of making sure that we're protecting child's and over 65 tickets. There's the actual move to the London Stadium where everything's been a bit slapdash, and for me personally, I went on a stadium tour being guided around by West Ham legend Martin Allen. And when you're going around and seeing what's actually in the stadium, there's no trophy cabinet. I mean, you could laugh. We've got one. We do have one. But all the silverware is locked up in a vault in Hatton Garden because they don't have the capacity to put a trophy cabinet in the stadium for West Ham United. Other things like Bobby Moore's medals, they're all in storage. Even to the point of pictures being hung up on the wall, they're not drilled in; they're held up by blue tack because they can't make any damages to the stadium as part of the lease. So, yeah, it feels for me architecturally, I think it's a wonderful stadium. It's not fit for football, and it doesn't have the home that West Ham and the West Ham fan base were led to believe it would be. So that's a lot of the issues that have been going on in a nutshell as to why the West Ham fans have an uprest in the ownership.
And is there any likelihood of any change? And in terms of someone else sort of coming taking over, the owners sort of selling up, or is it just going to be ever thus?
I think in 2021 we had the investment of Daniel Kaczynski come in. He invested £180 million to acquire 27% stake in the club. That meant that David Sullivan's shares had decreased, as well as David Gold's, Trip Smith's, and the other board members. So obviously we've got he's worth £13 billion, and you'd think, okay, this is the right move. This is going to eventually transition into his hands. But I think, given his business interests outside of football, he's just purchased the Royal Mail for £3 billion off the government, and purchased a load of other businesses across Europe. So he's got a wide portfolio of businesses that are sustainable. But there seems to be a very much lack of investment at the club in itself, mainly because I think he's come out and said recently that he's willing to invest as long as the others are, and he's not going to be the only one that's going to be putting his hands in his pocket. He's expecting everyone else to do the same. And obviously, if you've got David Sullivan, that you're putting that to, he's not going to put his hands in his pocket. So it's almost like a standoff, really, as to right, okay, who's going to actually say, right, we're going to put our own money into this club, and Dave Sullivan isn't the person to do that. With the passing of David Gold a couple of seasons ago, his shares went into probate, which went to his daughter, Jacqueline. Unfortunately, Jacqueline passed away 6 months afterwards, so his shares and family bonds went into a double probate situation. We've passed that period now, and Vanessa Gold has put the shares up for sale with Rothschild. So we've had investors looking around the club to buy those shares. It's just dependent on who those people will be. They are foreign, from what we are led to believe. But yeah, let's just see what happens. I mean, Trip Smith being involved in the club, he's got wide contacts with his finance experience and business portfolios across the pond. So let's see what happens with that. I think if the right offer came in for West Ham, shares could be there, shares could be purchased. But I think David Sullivan is pretty much holding out until the government sell the stadium to West Ham United, which I think personally he'll be waiting a very long time for that.
Right. And I mean, just from what you say, it just feels like there's just lots of things like you're a bit stuck on multiple levels in terms of the owners, in terms of the stadium. You don't have that. We had it at the Emirates. They called it the Arsenal. I can't even say the word, but they made it very Arsenal. They sort of the whole, it embodies that. If you go to the stadium, you see all around it embodies the fans. It embodies the men's team, the ladies' teams, our history, the Arsenalification, I think, if that's the word of it. And it just feels like you just can't make the London Stadium your own, so therefore you never feel fully invested when you go there. You don't have that sort of attachment to the club, and then if you're not delivering on the pitch either, then then that connection struggles, and so you just can't grow that. So even if you have going through bad times, you still have that connection. You're still able to sort of get through that together, and it just seems to be very them and us, and a very very disjointed approach to it, and therefore you're never going to be able to create that sustained success with that. And that comes to fruition in terms of like the managers. And so, look, unsurprisingly to most observers, West Ham have got another new manager at the helm with Nuno Espirito Santo replacing, was it Graham Potter last week? So I mean, with that, I mean, it seems like a decent appointment. But before we get onto him, what went wrong under Graham Potter? What was wrong with his tenure? I mean, he had last season, and then he was given 5 games this season, which seems a bit pointless given, I think, the direction everyone could see it was going. So yeah, what happened there?
Yeah, I mean, just quickly touching on that personification of a football club and what you was kind of alluding to. Just a little plug here. Me and Callum and Rob went to Werder Bremen a couple of weekends ago, and we walked through the streets there, and you very much felt it was a community-driven football club, like going through the residential areas, going through the fan zones and whatnot. So you had a really, really good experience. And what that kind of highlighted to me more than most is that West Ham don't have that anymore. We used to have that walking out the station at Upton Park, walking down Green Street, go in and get your hot dog and talk to other fans, go to the supporters club. It very much felt like a community club and a family club, and it was like, this is what West Ham is about. Nowadays, it's that you get off at Stratford, you get stuck in the queue to go into Westfield, you can go put a 20 quid on a roulette table, go downstairs, have your corn dog, go and have a beer in the bat and ball, and then walk down into the stadium where you've got to wait 15 minutes to be patted down by security before you actually put your ticket in through the turnstile. So the match build-up is what is partly killing our club, and I think that needs to change. But going on to Graham Potter, as we all know, he was appointed in January this year. His first game against Aston Villa, the first half was probably the best performance of West Ham that I've seen in many a year. But then second half, it was like, right, okay, same problems still exist. He was appointed by Karen Brady after being fully supported by Brady, what with the Birmingham connections, and also with Potter being a very good friend of Paul Pesky-Salido, who was a teammate at Birmingham. Touted as one of England's most promising coaches by Pep Guardiola. We thought, things were going to be okay. We've got a British manager, we're supporting this, let's go with it. But I just think over time, I think the cracks were quite easy to recognise earlier on in his tenure, and there was a lot of doubt as to whether he would actually be managing this season at all, let alone being given the first 5 games. So over the pre-season, I think all relationships with the players, or certain players, have broken down. Again, another bust up with Jean-Claire Todibo. A difference of opinion with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and surprisingly, Nicholas Füllkrug has come out and actually aired his views against the manager and not been impressed by what's been going on. Even to the point of players that we've now sold in terms of Odegaard, Emerson, Palmieri, and other sort of players. They've actually liked posts confirming Graham Potter's sacking. So there's no love lost between Graham Potter and the players that have basically caused problems. But one player that seems to be on his good side was James Ward-Prowse, and since Nuno Espirito Santo has come into the role, James Ward-Prowse has been dropped with immediate effect. He's not injured. He's literally not been part of the senior squad, and there's already talk about him being linked with a move back to Southampton in January. Negotiations already underway, from my understanding. So, yeah, it's like obviously Nuno wasn't favoured of James Ward-Prowse during the Forest days, obviously cancelling the loan halfway through the season. But yeah, it's a shame because statistically, James Ward-Prowse is in the top 5 players this season in the Premier League, which has created the most chances. I think he's created 12, where Jack Grealish is top of that pile with 18. So, yeah, it's there's a lot there to think about as to what's been going on. But he's very much a Graham Potter player, and he's a representation of Graham Potter, which is what the fans didn't want. So, yeah, I think there's been a clear detachment with him and the fans. He's kind of melancholy, revert to the textbook sort of comments, talking about players' motivation and mental awareness. I don't think fans have got the patience to listen to those excuses, and they just want to see results on the pitch.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's an odd one because, as I said, he feels like he's still living off that one season at Brighton. And even then, I've forgotten the guy's name. That De Zerbi? No, whoever.
De Zerbi followed him.
Who followed him and did even better. So he's sort of living off that one season, and he hasn't done much. A few punditry appearances, and he ends up being a West. Even talking about I think Man United at the time and stuff like that in at West Ham. But yeah, you're right. He doesn't strike me as someone who would, in confidence, that instill confidence in a team, that takes a team that is struggling, like West Ham, maybe he's really good with younger players, like he did at younger diverse players like he did at Brighton, versus maybe a different group at West Ham. So what you're expecting then? Sorry, what are you expecting then with Nuno? So Nuno's coming in. He's got a reputation of counter-attacking football. He likes to have, he sits deep and likes to have his pacey players to counter-attack. Are you sort of expecting anything much from him? Do you have the players that suit his style?
For me personally, I think the jury's still out on him. Maybe this is just because I've been built my hopes up previously with other managers, but I think for me it's like this is a David Sullivan appointment, and usually the decisions that David Sullivan has at this football club seem to not really go to plan. So I'm reserving judgment. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon like most of the West Ham fans. West Ham fans are loving it. They're loving his passion. They're loving his interviews. They're loving the way that they've dropped James Ward-Prowse and started playing academy players in his first game, which is great. But I just think he has a hell of a job on his hands at the moment, and he has to. The priority is getting his club away from the relegation zone as early as physically possible, because otherwise there'll be no hope for us to get any recruitment in January to kind of push on from that. So I think he needs to get to work quick, fast, no excuses, and drop players that are not committed. So he's got a job on his hands, if I'm completely honest.
And what would you consider success? Are you already at the stage of avoiding relegation or mid-table, or what do you expect? Or is it literally just finishing 17th and let's move on to next season already?
Ideally, to not be in a relegation battle would be good, because I'd like to watch games and not have that element of pressure or fear of relegation. I mean, it's ridiculous to think that, yes, we won a Europa Conference League a few seasons ago, that we've declined so much over those seasons to be basically existing in the bottom half of the table. I get ridiculed for this, but West Ham should be looking overall every season to be finishing 7th. That is the most achievable position that we could go in comparison with the top 6 side.
Well, you've got clubs like Brighton, like Bournemouth, like Palace, like Fulham. There's no reason why you shouldn't. And actually, you've got this sort of, say, the materials behind you to be up with that. And so that goes to show how important it is to be well run, because all of those clubs are well run clubs, and they make good decisions and astute decisions. Look at Bournemouth.
If we had the right ownership.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. No, go on. Sorry, I was.
No. Go. Yeah, no. Say, look at Bournemouth. You were saying if you have the right ownership.
If we have the right ownership, it's not even a conversation. Like, it's because Brighton, Fulham, Bournemouth, realistically, shouldn't be in the league with us. Like in our level, in terms of our club stature, in terms of the players that we sign, the transfer money that we spend. I mean, Brighton only just recently spent £35 million on an 18-year-old Greek forward. So it's West Ham have been spending that for quite a few seasons now, and it's not even alien to us. But I'm not disrespecting those clubs. I think they're very well run clubs. They've reinvested in the areas that they need to. Bournemouth have just spent £100 million on a new training facility, and it's probably one of the best up there in the league. West Ham have, in a club statement recently about fan unrest, is that Karen Brady come out and said that they've spent £4.5 million on training facility improvements. Now, sorry, but that's the £4.5 million for a top flight Premier League club when other clubs are spending 10 times that amount, if not 20 times that amount.
No, it's nothing.
It's a drop in the ocean. So.
And you're right. It's not a case of like denigrating those clubs. They're using them as examples. I mean, Bournemouth only get 12,000 at home every season, but they got a great manager in. Their recruitment policy is great. Again, the same with Brighton. It's about that recruitment. It's about having the right people and being smart. And it feels like West Ham are not being run by smart people or just something. And even if you just look at apart from Kudus, so okay, you got him in. Good player, made a profit on him, whatever. But where else has your recruitment gone? Fulkrug has been a bit of a busted flush. You send the Hella signing. Who you buying in? That you've got to basically you've got to buy players in, flip them, and then reinvest. And instead you seem to be purchasing sort of older players that who then by the time they finish with West Ham past their prime, you get a few million for them or not good enough. Maybe Mavropanos might be one that you could sell on and get a few. But where's that? If you look at what Bournemouth have done this season, like they sold their back line, they made tons of money, and look, it hasn't really impacted them. And look at Palace, the way they're doing stuff. So I would also say, it doesn't matter who the manager is if you haven't got the players. There's only so much you can do. I mean, okay, so certain people can turn, stuff into gold, but it's not a sustainable business model, shall we say? So it just feels like the recruitment, really, if that was at least improved, then you would have a bit of a chance because it's the players at the end of the day that get you success.
Yeah, absolutely. And I personally, like, we've tried to copy those models. When Graham Potter was appointed, we went and got Carl McCauley, who's basically his right-hand man for player recruitment at Brighton and at Chelsea. We've never paid £1 million that compensation for a head of recruitment. We've never done it, and we've done it that one time. And the players that were sanded out were deemed unrealistic or unproven. And at West Ham, we can't really afford to take those risks. Whereas Brighton can. Brighton can afford to spend £4.5 million on a 16-year-old and then give him 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and send him out and then sell him to Chelsea for 50. Exactly that. Yeah. So West Ham need players for the here and now, and that's why our academy players don't really get the look in that they deserve. And I think that's what West Ham fans are looking for now. They're not looking for a manager to go and spend £60 million on a 22-year-old midfielder, or get some of the Harvey Elliott in. They want to see players that have come through the production line. They want to see Callum Marshall. They want to see Freddie Potts. They want to see Ollie Scholes, Lewis Orford, Caden Casey, Finn Herrick. There's Fearson. There's loads of them, and I think Nuno, if that's the only hope that I have out of Nuno, is that he gives our academy players more minutes, then things will be a lot better amongst the fan base, because that's the definition for me what the West Ham way is about. It's about getting players through the door that are the blood of this club, that have been brought up being fans. And when you look at the team in the 60s, like you had Bobby Moore, you had Trevor Brooking, you had Frank Lampard Senior. Yeah, they're all West Ham boys. They're all from the area. They know what it's about. And the less we do that, our identity changes on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And for the wrong reasons.
No, it's not easy, and then maybe you just got to accept that, right? It's hard to have that 5-year plan, but also you need the pressure of staying in the Premier League, and it's really hard to balance that too. It's like, who are we going to be, and but we need Premier League money, because if you get out of it, then if you come out of the Premier League, then you're scuppered for a long time. So look, we've got 10 minutes left on the Zoom meeting, so let's quickly move on to the game against Arsenal on Saturday. What are your thoughts for the game? What are your expectations? You've done us twice over the last couple of seasons.
Have we?
Yeah. Shut up. So, are you expecting another smash and grab 1-0 win, or is it going to be more like London Stadium 5-6 goals?
It would be fantastic to get another 3 points at the Emirates, but let's not push our luck. I mean, at best, we could probably hope for a draw at best, considering the situation we're in at this season. I don't see a smash and grab. I just don't think we've got the minerals for it. But again, the hopeful side to me is that we finally get a new manager bounce. I mean, at the third time of asking, hopefully we get a manager that can actually get that bounce in the squad and actually start performing from the off. We don't seem to get that as West Ham. We don't seem to get that new manager bounce, and it's just typical West Ham. But my fears, obviously, as highlighted on the Monday night game, is that the goal we conceded against Everton was the 8th conceded this season from set plays. And what team do we play next? It's Set Piece FC. So I'm expecting us to be conceding at least a couple of goals from corners or free kicks on Saturday, if I'm completely honest.
Wow, and with Declan Rice serving them up. But I mean, if there is any route to a result, I guess things have to go your way. We have to be off form. The odd decision falling your way, and
Declan Rice gets sent off.
Let's see who's refereeing, but yeah. No, it does feel. Look, things happen. And you never know. Everyone's fighting for their place now. They've got a new manager in, so you never quite know what happens. So which sort of players should we be looking out for? And one thing Arsenal fans can be grateful to West Ham for is, I think you took Igor Julio from under Crystal Palace's noses, which meant Mark Guehi didn't go to Liverpool, so that made us happy. So that was quite a good thing. Okay. So yeah, who should we be looking out for? Who are your main threats apart from Bowen? We know about Bowen, but anyone else that we should look out for?
Yeah, obviously Paquetá's the obvious one, but there's a couple of players here that should be highlighted, and they're basically summer signings, and that's one is El Hadji Malik Diouf, who is our left back. He has got 3 assists this season already from the left back position. He is defensively questionable. I think he's great in attack. I think tackling and defending wise, that's an area of his game he needs to improve on. So if he's up against Saka this weekend, I think he could be in trouble in that area, or our defence will be. So we need to be on form to make sure that occurs. But from an attacking point of view, I'd be concerned. I would be concerned because he's got a burst of energy, a burst of pace, and he's very strong on the ball. It's very rare you see him getting muscled off it. But if you give him space in that deep left-hand side, he can whip a ball in. I've not seen a player whip a ball in as good as he has for a very, very long time, especially over at West Ham. I'm talking in general in the Premier League. Wow. He won't be at West Ham for long. But next season he'll probably go for like £70 million to Man City or something like that.
But as we said before, that's the sort of thing you have to do, and to get these players, find these players, reinvest, and so on. So you enjoy them for while you can, and then move them on. So what's your go on?
And the other player is Matheus Fernandes that we bought from Southampton. Bought him for £42 million.
Okay.
Portuguese under-21 player. He looks really good, and his link-up play with Paquetá has been exceptional. And I think, that is something that should not be ignored. He could, if you give him space on the ball, I think he could cause a bit of trouble. So I think you need to close it down, use your strengths, like you've got Marino and Zubamendi in the middle of the park, and even Declan Rice, that could potentially cause some battle in there. But if there's any subs that come on, again, Freddie Potts, he come on at the week on Monday. I think he could impress in areas, and it'll be interesting to see Freddie Potts go head to head with Declan Rice in terms of battle of the Academy of Football. So that'll be an interesting.
Yeah, well, we've got previous playing West Ham and youth coming through and scoring against us, be it that one Declan Rice. Yeah. So and look, no Souček. I think he's suspended.
He's suspended.
Yeah, is Wan-Bissaka fit? I know I've got him down as being ill, but
yes, he has a abdominal injury.
Oh, okay.
So he's had stomach issues over the past few weeks. I don't know whether he's been sick or Potter. But he's hopefully he gets out of it. But it's a very strange injury. We don't really know what the cause of it was. We don't know. But yeah, he remains on the sidelines for now.
Okay.
So Carl Walker-Peters will operate as the right back.
Right, got you. So what's your prediction? What's your score prediction?
I think, given your result against Newcastle at the weekend, where Newcastle are a good side, no doubt in that. And I think with West Ham having a new manager bounce, I think it could be a tighter game than most people anticipate. I think you'll beat us 2-1 if I have to put a score against it. I think we'll score. I think we've got capabilities of doing that now. But I think we will lose it 2-1.
2-1. Okay, no, that sounds reasonable. I'm saving my prediction for our pod later.
Wouldn't you?
I'll take it. Well, actually, no, I wouldn't take the one, but we'll see. And look, before just wrapping up, first off, thank you, Adam, for coming on. Always a pleasure having you on, and no doubt we'll have you back. I think it's the 8th of May, when hopefully I'm celebrating a league win, and you're celebrating staying up. So 17th and 1st meet on the 9th of May. So let's hope for that. And
or you could finish 5th and we're relegated. That'd be an horrible episode, wouldn't it?
God, could you imagine? Right. Before the Zoom meeting runs out and I have to upgrade to Pro, just tell us about your podcast, where people can find you, what you do, and you've got a minute.
Yep, so 1 minute, here we go. Dad's Our Job podcast is a podcast run by 3 dads, 1 West Ham fan, me, and 2 Arsenal fans. So we're already outnumbered. We should be getting more Arsenal followers. Why ain't you following us right now? But yeah, so basically we talk about dad life. We have interviews with ex-pros. We have people who are professional in the industry. We play games. We have debates. We talk about topics of discussion in the week. We have quizzes against each other. We talk about FPL. So we've got a feature called Chat GPT Get Banged, where we're trying to beat a team picked by AI. So it's all fun and games. We stream live every Thursday at 8:30 on YouTube and on X. And yeah, come along and join us.
Okay, very good. And what's your sort of handle at? Was it at DOJ? Oh no, what's your
It's at Dad's Ad Job TV on all platforms.
On all platforms, good. Okay, go and check them out once you've listened to the Grove podcast. Okay, well, look, as I said, yes. Adam, yes, and I make the odd appearance every now and then if I'm tuning in and I get welcomed on. So there we go. Again, thanks, Adam, for coming on. Thanks for your thoughts. Good luck for the rest of the season, apart from Saturday and on the 9th of May. Take care and speak again soon.
So that's take care, buddy.
All right, cheers. Bye-bye.